Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, my friends and fellow Blackbaud fans. Our numbers are slowly climbing. I'm so glad to have you here for this session today in our third day of BB Dev Days. I hope everyone's having a wonderful time. Hope you guys have seen some great stuff today and every other day before. Hi, hello, howdy. So I'm just watching our numbers climb as people start to join us. We're going to be talking about doing a nice, simple flow, which sounds like we're going to be doing yoga today, but we're not. No yoga today. Well, I don't know. That's up to Joe. Joe could maybe do a couple of poses for you guys. You'll just have to ask him really nicely in the chat to do something. But we will be doing a simple flow today for sort of like an intro level. So I hope you guys are all excited to do it. Our speaker today, Joe K, he's done a couple sessions before, and he did a great one yesterday. If you guys saw it, you're in for a treat today. So I'm going to give it up to him without further ado. Looks like you're all here. You guys know how to use the chat. Make sure to just put everything over there. Say hi, share whatever you want to share, your favorite type of pie, your favorite story about a chipmunk, whatever you got. But also, that's a great place to just talk to each other, give each other feedback, talk to me, talk to Joe, and we'll do our best to answer any questions as they come up. But without further ado, I give you Joe.
Hello, welcome to our first flow. I'm Joe, as Evan pointed out, and you can read, hopefully. If you can't read, that might make today a little tricky, but we can get through this together. A little bit about me. I'm not a developer. I am not a Blackbaud employee. I am just an all-true user. For the last 2 years, I kind of struggle to support my users on a daily basis. That's it. No fancy training. I am not a developer. This flow that we're going to go over today is literally the first flow that I built. And it kind of cracked open for me the possibilities of Power Automate. So once I got my toes wet here, I was then able to do other things. This will be a follow along skills workshop. I will pause as we go. The end goal is that by the end of this, you have a very simple flow that simply sends an email. That's it. Nice and easy. You get a 441. If we just change it to, it might be the environment I'm on. If you drop off the preview and then just make it make.powerautomate.com, does that work for you? This will be step one of our testing. So go ahead and go there while I quasi fill the time / give you useful information. So the problem that we're trying to solve is that we have multiple vendors that we use. Blackbaud, we have a mail service, we have payment processors, we do online storage that we need for our day-to-day operations. And they all have a status page. And when things go wrong, hopefully they post to the status page. We have multiple stakeholders that need to know when one of those services has a problem, or more importantly, when it's been resolved. And I got tired of a dozen plus different people reaching out to me to ask if our Blackbaud solution was down. Because before the Azure migration, AllTrue was not super stable. And I had a real fun time the first couple months that I worked there. So that's what we're doing. That's the problem. How do you let people know that your Blackbaud product is down, whether that's NXT, BBMS, which is getting renamed, AllTrue, maybe, just alert when that goes down. The simple solution is to do automated alerts. And at a blush, this is what they look like. This is my super fancy version that has color coding. We're going to do a little more simple. But basically what it does is it takes the status page and it sends it on a Teams message or an email or any other alert. I'm going to drop in the chat what the status pages look like. And I'm going to go live. We'll do that first and drop the chat. So for real quick, everyone, you're in powerautomate.com, hopefully, while I switch screens. Said this yesterday. I should have gotten some hold music ready to go. Cool. Thank you for the confirmations. If you haven't seen it before, I'm on the wrong page. Status.blackbaud.com is a good page to know. And conveniently, there's something wrong with JustGiving right now. So what you'll do, anytime that there's an issue, gets posted here, and it gives you a little bit of information. Every time there's an update, there's a new post that comes on here. You can kind of scroll down and see that things like all true operational, BBID, how we log in, is operational, all that kind of fun jazz. I have spoofed this page simply because we don't want to do live updates for what we're doing. And it's really tricky to test and develop this flow when you're just kind of sitting, waiting around for an update to happen. So the page that we're going to use today is this one. It's you'll notice the URL is jackbbdovdays.statuspage.io. This is free. You can sign up and create your own status page. And I wish I had thought of that when I first came up with this flow several years ago. Just down at the bottom, we can see it's powered by Atlassian status page. It's the same platform that Blackbaud uses and like 4 of my other vendors. So it's pretty popular. Bada boom, bada bing. This is what I get when I go off topic. I lose slight track of what I was going to say. So we're going to get started. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. If we need to do yoga as we go, we'll figure out what those poses can be while we're in a chair. We're going to go over to our Power Automate page. Hopefully it looks like this for you. We're going to click on My Flows. As an aside, there was a really great skills workshop started yesterday. I think it's like a 2 or 3 part session that goes over the very, very basics of Power Automate. If you didn't attend it, I highly recommend watching and recording when they're available because they were very thorough and go through all kinds of things. This will be a little faster pace to make sure we get through the basic flow because we're almost at a third of our time gone already. So rock on. Okay, so we're going to go to My Flows. We are going to do a new flow up at the top. And we're going to do an automated cloud flow because what we're going to do is we want the flow to be triggered automatically when something happens. That's what that stands for. So we click there. It will now say, so we want to do on my cloud flow. We're going to give this a clever name, you know, like RSS alert on BB status page. Choose your own adventure. You can rename this later. You're not locked into this at any point. For choosing your flow's trigger, they give you a whole bunch of things by default. Conveniently, RSS is listed. You could also simply search for RSS and get it there. I know some people might be tempted to look at the templates and say, oh, look, there are a whole bunch of RSS templates built in. That's great. You can play with that. I'm discovering some templates haven't been updated to use the new version of Power Automate, and they're stuck in the old version, which is fine if that's what you want to use. If you want to use the new one, then you're kind of locked in. So we're starting from scratch, partially for that reason. And then we just hit create, and then we wait for it to go, and then bada boom, bada bing. Hopefully you look like this now. You'll have a big error message right in the middle. It says invalid parameters. I'm going to try zooming in, so hopefully this is a little easier for folks to see. If you have trouble seeing what's on my screen or following along, please chime in. I don't want to leave, no coder left behind. Simply click on the box in the middle. And then we get, so those boxes are called cards, I think, in this flow. The very first card in your flow is going to be called a trigger. It's the action item that kicks everything else off. After that, we're going to be doing actions and data manipulations and that kind of jazz. The first tab, when we click on our card, we get a little side view on the side. The very first sub tab is parameters, which are the custom data that you can put in there for a card. One thing I want to point out real quick while we're here is if you jump over to the About tab on the far end, there's an operation note. Most of these, especially the default ones put in here by Microsoft, have a little learn more button. And when you click on that, that gives you some really detailed information about the flow or about the action. That at first may seem a little intimidating, but as you get more and more comfortable, it kind of tells you what your requirements are. Often it'll tell you what kind of data needs to go in there. String is text. You might see if it says number, then it has to be like, 0 through 9, sort of numeric. There are other more complicated codey things, but most of what we're dealing with today are strings, which is just text. Back over here, we'll jump over to parameters. If it has a little red star, then that means it's required. And often it'll tell you underneath that that field is required, especially if you try and save. So it's asking for our feed URL. It's going to be really tempting. I'm going to jump over here and grab that URL off of the status page. I think if I try and dump it in there, it might get mad at me right away. Let's find out. This is a learning. Nope, it does not get mad at you until you try and run it. So super tempting, but it's not an RSS feed. An RSS URL ends in .rss. To get to it, this is true of most status pages. You can either do a browser plugin, that'll pull it for you. You can simply view the page source in your browser of choice, and then do a search for .rss. And then I can see down here, I'll see something that says link, relative, alternate, application type, and then the href. That's the part we care about. We're going to copy that link. To make your lives easier, I'm going to put that in the chat right now. You would do the exact same thing on the Blackbaud status page, and it's going to look exactly like this. It is important to make sure you grab the one that ends in .rss, not .atom. Okay. Then we go back over to our flow and we dump that in. Now we're configured. That's all there is to set up the feed. We could try saving now. It's going to yell at us and say we have missing content. Please select a valid connection or create a new connection from the tabs in the action plane. Well, that's confusing. As you first get started, each of these connectors require a connection. So a connector is really a bridge to some third-party service. It could be to Outlook, it could be to RSS, it could be to Blackbaud, any number of things. So this gets a little frustrating sometimes. And then we just have to create a connector, which is your sign-in information. So at the bottom, all you got to do is hit change connection, click this box that's default, and now it says connected to RSS. That's all there is to it. Now we can try save again and see if we get a different error message. Hopefully, everyone now sees an error that says your flow should contain at least a trigger and an action, which makes sense. You've got to do something with that information that you get. The most basic thing that we can do is called a compose. So you click the little plus icon, and then you search for the word compose. As you get comfortable in Power Automate, you'll learn what some of these are off the top of your head. They have this feature in the new version that I like where you can put a little blue star and mark something your favorite. If you see a little diamond, that means it's premium and you got to pay for it. So we're going to use this data operation called compose. All that this action does, literally all it does is sort of like a print statement. So you feed it some information and then it just displays it when you test. So that's all we're going to look at. So when you click on the compose, we default to that parameter page and it's asking for inputs. We're going to give it a little dynamic input and we're going to give it the feed title. So that was kind of quick. Click on the little blue lightning icon. That little lightning icon means dynamic. And then that pulls you up all of the steps that are above wherever you're at. So in this case, we only have one action above us, which is when a feed item is published. And then it gives you the built-in options. You can click on see more and see all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to keep it simple and we're going to do feed title. I'm going to rename my compose by clicking up above where it says compose and just put RSS feed title. I'm doing that so that I can keep track as I go of what my step actually is. Also, Power Automate forces you, doesn't requires unique names. So now we're going to save, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, we all got a green sign that says your flow is ready to go. We recommend to test it. So we're going to take a moment and we're going to test it really fast. Before you get super excited to hit test, we have to turn off New Designer. Hopefully all of you have a little toggle button in the top. New Designer doesn't like when we manually test an RSS feed. This is only an issue for this very first time that we're doing. So go ahead and turn that off. It may prompt you to say, oh no, why don't you want our New Designer? You can leave feedback if you want. We can do that later. You're going to see things change. So the view changes. Now we can go ahead and hit test, little beaker. We have two options. One is grayed out, manually and automatically. First, we're going to do is manual. We're going to publish an item to the RSS feed to trigger it. So go ahead and hit test. And then it'll up in the corner say, to see if it worked now, publish an item to the RSS feed. And then hopefully like a little spinny icon's going on. So what I'm going to do is come over here to this page. I'm going to create an incident. I am going to grab a officially sanctioned Blackbaud alert. I'm going to call this training. This is what the backend looks like that Blackbaud would see when they're doing things. We are going to mark it as investigating. We're going to say this hits all true, CRM. I don't have the other ones. We'll just say it's degraded just for kicks. And then I'm going to create this. Okay. So you would this is a testing only sort of deal, right? If I go back to the dev days flow, maybe I need to refresh the page. I can now see there's an alert that says training. I see a mistake that I have done, so I need to fix that. This is not something you need to worry about. Carp. Can I edit this? Sorry, this is what happens when you do things live. Can I edit the incident page? Pardon me. I'm going to create a new incident because I did this wrong. My apologies. And I imagine if I looked at that for more than 2 seconds, I would have been able to find how to fix it. Because I want to give it a real name. That'll be a problem here in a second. We'll see how this impacts all of us. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Now, if we go, we'll let this refresh. If we go back over into Power Automate, we should now see our flow ran successfully. And if I click on the compose, I can see that it said training, which was the title of my first one. And if I go when a feed is published, I can see all kinds of fun details that we're going to care about in a second. I'm going to pause here. If anyone did not get this far, raise your hand. Great. I'm going to power through because we have 12 minutes left. Great. I'm going to edit. We're going to test this one more time and do another manual. Shoot, I'm really sorry, guys. So that I can fix this for you. So go ahead and take a second to retest because I made a mistake. And we will update right now. It'll have some trickle down stuff that you'll see here in a second. Okay, cool. Coming back, I should now, you want to make sure your title says active issue alert, Blackbaud CRM, Blackbaud all true, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to pause here again, give you all a second to catch up to where I am. Turns out this is one of those important things to have working. Cool. Thanks for the thumbs up. All right, we're going to go back into our designer. We're going to flip over to new designer. Now that we have this piece working, we're going to add the next step, which is we're going to create a variable for who we send the email to. So if you just type in variable, and mine's at the top because I start it, we want to initialize a variable. Initialize variable is how you say, this is a variable I want to use. And then later on, you can manipulate that data later. So the first thing we want is initialize variable. Parameters, we want to give this a name. We're going to call this, email recipient, something that makes sense to you. For the type, we're going to make it a string. Again, string is text. The other stuff we're not going to worry about right now. And then the value, you put in your email address. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm going to rename the top to be email recipient. One of the things I always do is, especially when I'm starting, is I leave the default name and then I just append a description that makes sense for me. I like to make it the variable name, so it's very easy for me to go find it when I go on. Next thing we're going to do is send an email. So we're going to type email. There's a bunch of Outlook options. I'm going to use the default generic send an email notification version 3. We click that, we're here. This time, we're prompted to have to actually do our connection in real time. Usually that's what you get. If you're trying to hook into Sky API or SharePoint, something like that, usually it prompts you right away. So we're just going to do what everyone does and not really read the terms and conditions and just hit accept. And then we're going to create a new connection, which would be a login. This is where, say, Blackbaud would ask you for your login credentials. Cool. So now we have a new little card with a bunch of stuff we can customize that we will look at in the future. In the to, that's who we're sending the email to. By default, it hides the variables for us, which is a little frustrating. So if we click on the, pardon. Click on the gear icon, it then enables us to use dynamic content. Dynamic being it changes constantly. We click on that. Now we can click on here. Then we have access to the lightning bolt, and it gives us everything that's above it. So we can see variables, email recipient. So we click on that. Our subject, let's be fancy, and let's use the feed title. And then in the body, same thing. We click on that lightning bolt, and then we're going to do the feed summary. Cool. After you get those in there, go ahead and hit save. You don't have to make the subject dynamic. You can say, oh no, something's broken. Click here to find out more. But you do want that summary in there. That's kind of the whole point of this, is to be automatically notified. So go ahead and save, and then we're going to test. What's handy is now we have, oh, let me go back. So on the email recipient, you have to first click on the little gear icon, and then it will allow you to put in the lightning bolt. And then you should get this little pop-up screen on the side. And then if you created that variable that says email recipient, you can use that. Your other option is you could just put in your email, right in there. And then it's kind of hard-coded. It's just a little harder to update later. So the choice is sort of yours. Lauren, did that get you settled? I'm going to save for everyone's well-being. Check on there. Rock on. Great. So go ahead and save. Unfortunately, one of my biggest pet peeves with Power Automate is you have to save before you test. So it's very possible to break things real good. We now have the option under testing to do automatic. We're now going to say with a recently used trigger, and then this will show you all of the times that this is ran. So we're going to click on succeeded on the last one, and then we hit test. And then dump, da-dum, bum, 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 bum. Hopefully, you have a green bar at the top that says your flow ran successfully. And then you have 4 little green check marks throughout. The green check mark simply means that that step succeeded successfully. Not necessarily that you got what you wanted, but that it succeeded successfully. So I can see it called the RSS feed. It created a compose, and we'll look at all these in a little more detail. I was able to initialize a variable, and it sent an email. Did it send an email? Let's see. Why, look at that. I got an email. Here's my title from the RSS feed. You got unauthorized. Oh, let's go back. Were you, for everyone who got unauthorized, where does it tell you you're unauthorized? Was it when you tried to save? Aha, all right. So you were able to save, and then you did the test. Make sure I'm pointing at the right place. Ah, all right. So Nikki had an RSS connector not set up. I wonder if on the email one, so for folks, did you get the error on the save or the error on the test? And then you have a little like red X or a gray line down here, and then the error says unauthorized. So I wonder if I agree with Topher that maybe when we go back to the edit, that down here at the bottom, check to see if yours says connected to mail. And I realize I kind of went over that quickly. And the problem, well, pros, cons. Once you've connected the first time, you don't have to do it again, which is great, except when you're trying to show people how to double check. So it says it's connected. And Vanessa, you were one of the people where it failed. Right? Okay, so it says it's connected, but it says you're not authorized. That one, this is where we learn that I'm not an expert. Didn't see how to make. Oh, I see. Okay. So for Nikki, I'm going to do another manual push for Nikki. We'll see if that solves that while I scratch my head with the remaining 2 minutes. Now, that being said, I know a lot of you have another session signed up for after this. If Evan's okay with it, I'm okay running over to help troubleshoot and do like the next advanced step, which is to filter down by your product. But no hard feelings when folks have to go. Okay, I just did another manual update, so hopefully that takes care of Nikki. Topher has thank you, Evan. And Topher has an excellent suggestion there, because we did run into this in testing. Even though it says connected, try clicking change connection, and then simply click on the little green check mark again. Then save, and let's test again. Apologies, I need some water. And then, in theory, you should now be able to all use an automatic and do your last test. If anyone else needs another manual, I'm happy to do another manual push. Cool, and we'll wait a moment to see if that, hopefully that helped. Hopefully that fixed it. Hopefully Topher hit the nail on the head with a hammer. A lot of this I have learned is trial and error, especially for me. Because you just kind of like see what it does. The RSS one was really fun to try and develop when I wasn't able to push my own thing. So I do recommend signing up for your own and playing with that way so you can push your own manual updates. The other thing that's surprisingly useful is Copilot. Yes, Nikki, I can. And then I'll dump it into the chat. So if I'm on my status page, I go to view page source. And then in the page source, search for RSS. And it sounds like some people have success in using version 2 instead of version 3 of the email. That is interesting. And Shelby got it working with Outlook. Nikki, there is the RSS feed if you're not able to find it in the page source. Yeah, Topher points out too that they had issues with the mail connector, but Office was fine. Great. Seems like this is part of the fun of Power Automate, that we can all experience in real time together as users. That sometimes it works for one person and not another, and the troubleshooting of that can be super fun. That's where Copilot can be handy sometimes. Not the built-in Copilot that's right up here in the corner. What that does is it tries to be smart and tell you how to like do things in your flow, and then it changes your flow for you and breaks everything you have. As an aside, we're at time, official time, so 11:30. So for those of you that have other sessions, be free, enjoy your day. Hopefully you got something out of this. I will make sure that the power, I have more slides that have all this in detail, so you can follow along better on your own. I'll make sure that gets attached to this so that if you watch the recording, you can have all of that. Those who want to stick around, Evan, do you need to do a quick wrap up for those since we're running over?
The only wrap up I want to say is if you guys have to leave, thanks for coming and sticking around with us. And Joe, thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared. But as you can see, we're already at time and beyond, which means it didn't boot you out. You're still here. You're welcome to stay if you want to. Just let us know that you're sticking around and we'll do it. But I am going to launch a survey right now. Make sure that everybody has a chance to give props. Survey has been launched. All right, get it out. Thank you, Shelby, for also noticing that.
Cool. Thanks, Evan. We'll stick around for sure to make sure that everybody can at least get an email sent to them. And then if people want to stick around longer, I can walk you through the next step, which is to put a little filter in place so you only get notifications about your product. It gets a little complicated and it's going to take a little bit of time. Cool, Lauren. That's super exciting. Is anyone not getting their email? Is anyone still blocked? Well, question 1. Anyone still blocked? Can I create Q&A now, or does it have to be done? I think it has to be done. Cool. I'm going to take that as an internal policy. And then, Lauren, yes, in real life, all you have to do is go to the true Blackbaud status page, view that page source, grab the RSS, which I will also put in chat. And then you're there. Bada boom, bada bing. As a teaser, the next steps for when you want, if you want to take this to the next level, is you add a condition that basically says if the feed title contains my product name, then send the email, else don't. And that's the 30-second version. With a couple caveats for y'all to be aware of, that condition is case sensitive. So if you're searching for all true, make sure it says capital A. There is a way to strip all of that out, and I'll have that in the slideshow, in the slide deck for you. It takes a tiny bit of coding, but I give you the code. And basically you convert the feed title to be all lowercase. So it doesn't matter if Blackbaud does a capital A for all true or lowercase r for NXT, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's your teaser. And I think we'll stop there unless anyone has any last minute questions. Hey, thanks, Topher. I appreciate that. Cool. I will make sure that the slide deck gets attached so that y'all get that in the recording and in the future. Thank you all for your time. Thanks to Evan. If you didn't, put in your favorite pie, because Evan is super pie-centric, as am I. Have a good day.